This is the Greg Bedard Patriots podcast with Nick Cattles.
Yeah, I mean, I completely, if you just want to talk about the offense and Drake Maye, I completely agree with you that, I mean, it was a vast improvement over week one. And it was great to see. Drake was in complete command. They didn't take anything off his plate. He operated the offense how it needed to operate, how it's designed to operate. He feels he looked very comfortable with everything. He was getting them in and out of good plays, bad plays. For all the talk last week, all the ridiculous talk last week, and now it's transferring to more ridiculous talk, because if you said last week that there's too much on Drake Maye's plate and Josh McDaniels isn't a good fit, he's going to have to adjust to Drake. Well, of course, after Sunday, now you're going to say, well, they did all those things. The truth of the matter is they didn't do all those things. They didn't change anything. Yes, it looked different, but a lot of it just had to do with the Dolphins. The Patriots had control of the game. They didn't last week. How many negative plays, negative runs did they have? They didn't have any. The only run stuff that I had in this game was Jared Wilson's hold. Other than that, they stayed on schedule. I don't think, they didn't have one run of 1 yard or less in this game. And also, I've heard some talk about they worked on the outside more. Yes, that's because, and we talked about it on the podcast last week, the Dolphins, if you watch their film in week one, they were horrendous on the outside. They short, deep, they couldn't cover anything outside the numbers. So the Patriots attacked a weakness there. But so I agree, everything, we could talk all day about the improvement that Drake Maye and the offense showed. It's just the rest of the team continued to stink.
We'll get there, Greg. We'll get there.
Holy cow.
We'll get there. We'll get to the defense. Let's focus on the offense first. I did want to ask you two things, though, because I do think there were two obvious changes that Josh McDaniels did make, because I read your column, and I think there were two major differences, significant differences about their approach. Number one, Maye was under center a lot more. Week one against the Raiders, Maye was in shotgun over 80% of the time. It was closer to like 50-50 against Miami. And the other significant change was pre-snap motion. And I know some people, including Josh, say, motion's not as big of a deal and it can get you into trouble. But when you look at it, Lord Reeves, Rich Rybar, posted that after a 28.3% motion rate in week one, which was 30th in the league, the Patriots more than doubled that in week two with 56.7%. So I do think there were some changes, significant changes. It was Drake more under center, and it was motion rate before the snap, which seemingly helps Drake. He's been much better with pre-snap motion than he has without pre-snap motion.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that's true, but the reasons for it were not, Drake related. I would contend that they were game situation related. And also, like, this was being out of every single practice.
All right, so hold on. So let me just I want to make sure you're clear in what you're saying. So you're not saying that McDaniels did not change the game plan from week to week and do different things. Your contention is he didn't do it because of Drake Maye. He didn't do it for Drake Maye. He did it because it was game plan.
Well, it was game situation, like, especially the shotgun stuff. They're falling behind, a lot of penalties, negative plays. They're not blocking. They couldn't run the ball at all. So that would tend to more, shotgun. They stayed on schedule a bit more. What I was going to say about, like, if you were there, the two significant things in this game that people are going to bring up, they're going to say that he was under center. They ran more outside zone. They ran more boots and waggles. And also the way Drake Maye stepped up and hit Ramondre Stevenson on that 55-yarder. Being out of practice all summer, I could tell you, and anybody who was there, they should also be able to say this. the Patriots practiced a lot of outside zone all summer.
Yeah.
Under center, outside zone, boots. This was going to be part of the offense. Now, the reasons for that, I'm not sure. I don't know if that's just because, you will get in a situation where Josh will game plan. And like last week, I think they thought, and we talked about this, that the weakness of the Raiders defense was up the middle. Against the Dolphins with Seiler inside and some other guys, really was more about their edge guys that I think they wanted to make Chubb and Jalen Phillips and, all these guys defend the run on the outside. But also, I think part of the reason why they practiced it all summer was that if you're unsure about your offensive line, if you might potentially start two rookies at on the line, if you have Garrett Bradbury, who's not exactly Mr. pass protect for a 7-step drop, you would go to wide zone and more boots and waggles to help the offensive line, to hide them a little bit more. Certainly it plays into Drake's athleticism. But I think it was more about like, what are we actually going to be able to do once we get to the season? And so the Patriots, this was not, I just want to make sure that people understand, this was not a one-game adjustment where the Patriots went to wide zone and boots and waggles and all that stuff. They practiced this a lot all summer. So this has been in the plans for a long time. I just don't think it was part of the game plan in week 1. They couldn't run the ball. The Raiders were better, unscouted team. Now they're playing the Dolphins in week 2, a divisional opponent they know well. Drake even started down there last year against Anthony Weaver. So just a lot more familiarity and knowledge to, go forward with a sound game plan. But can we just talk for a second about the game balls after the game? And,
all right. Yeah, sure.
So Mike Vrabel, they put out the video. Okay. Mike Vrabel, Kraft is in there. Gives a game ball to Ramondre Stevenson. Absolutely.
Yep.
We just talked about him. Great game. Antonio Gibson, kickoff return that won the game. Absolutely. Here you go. Take a ball. Marte Mapu. Okay. All right. I mean, look, he had an interception. It should have sealed the game. It was more about Tua than anything else and him panicking. But okay. And then we have defensive play caller Zach Kerr. Okay. All right. Back to that in a second. Kicker Andy Borregales.
Yeah, baby.
Are you freaking kidding me?
53 yards, Greg. 53 yards, baby.
Look, I get that it was great that he missed 2 extra points, came back and made 2 field goals, including the 53-yarder. But then he doesn't reach the landing zone and gives Miami the ball at the 40, and he gets a game ball. You know who didn't get a game ball? Drake freaking Maye.
Crazy.
Drake Maye has the best game of his career. It's his second real win. It's his first road win in the division in a house of horrors where they haven't won since Tom Brady was the quarterback. It was only the 17th team win down in Miami. They've lost like 46 games. Drake Maye plays a near perfect game for you to emerge with a victory. All the crap he took last week, which, okay, set that off to the side. Maybe they don't hear the noise. He plays like that, and you don't give Drake Maye a game ball. And not only that, he was asked about Drake Maye after the game, and he goes, I think there's a lot of good things and a lot of things we have to fix. And he goes into all this criticism about, what he did. Now, I will say the day after on radio to the media, he, again, this is like Gerard Mayo still here. He walked back what he said. He gave Drake his flowers, but holy cow, man, like, get a clue, like, understand what's going on. Drake Maye, you don't win that game if Drake Maye doesn't play a perfect game and like a well-seasoned veteran. Like, I don't know. So far, I mean, Mike he's an interesting dude, man. He really is. And look, it was probably just an oversight, but Stretch or somebody's got to pull him aside and be like, bro, can you give the quarterback his flowers? Like a little bit? I mean, is Belichick still here? I mean, what the hell? So
Maybe they ran out of footballs. Maybe they ran out of footballs, Greg. Maybe they had one football left, and Vrabel was like, okay, man, Drake Maye or Andy Borregales. Maye, Borregales, Maye, Borregales, Borregales. Maybe
how about Zach Kerr?